All right, Algebra 1, welcome back to some amazing video note presentations. All right, guys, so we are officially starting Chapter 5. Okay, we are jumping back into it. We're coming back from our Thanksgiving break, and I'm excited to jump back in to a new chapter. All right, let's do this. So as you can see, we're starting Chapter 5. Okay, so let's jump into our notes, and let's see if we can actually maybe even make these a little bigger. There we go. Now we can see what we are dealing with. Okay, so we are jumping into section 1 here. The title of this, functions as ordered pairs, and then the rules that go with that. Okay, so you'll see I've made sure to highlight some of the important things, and you can kind of even color coordinate this. So you'll see in the first note there, an ordered pair for starters, it's this X and Y. Okay, so that guy right there. Don't forget that the X always goes first. Okay, boom. And then Y second. Boom, there we go. Okay, now you're going to be introduced to this term called a domain. And the domain is only focusing on the X value. So you can see we got the color coordinated thing here. We got domain, same color, X. Okay, so that's what it goes with. Then your domain is only affecting the left and right aspect of your graph, because that's what the x-axis does. It's only the left and right. Then we move on to another term, the range. You can see right here. And the range is always going to be focused on the y value, as you can see down here. Okay, so again, follow the colors. I'm trying to do everything I can here to help you guys to stay focused on how these notes connect to one another, because this is a little bit more conceptual rather than it just being like, hey, plug this into an equation, crank out, do the math, and then get an answer. This is a little bit conceptual, meaning that you have to understand the concept behind it so that you're able to follow the style of question that they're asking you. Okay, now here's some more terms that they're going to give you. By the way, anytime you want, you pause the video and make sure that you are getting all of this written down. All right, you have to understand it, and to better understand it, write it down. All right, so there you go. If you ever see the phrase the independent variable, all right, I've just made sure that independent is the key word. That goes with the x value. Okay, independent means that it is not being affected by something else. It's like, here's your value. It's independent. It's already given to you. But then when they talk about the dependent, let's look right down here. The dependent variable is now going to be the y value. So what does this tell you? It basically says that the x value up here, which is independent, will change and affect your y value right here, which is dependent. What is it dependent to? It's dependent to the x value. All right, so let's keep moving down in our notes. All right, when you're given a set of ordered pairs, and what I mean by set right here is you're going to be given multiple ordered pairs, like maybe 3, 4, or 5 different ordered pairs, then you want to focus on the x values. That's important. Again, the x values. All right, focus on the x values, and then they will ask, all right, here's the ordered pairs. Is this representing, let's move down, a function? How do you tell if it's representing a function? Again, there's no calculation to this. It's all conceptual. You look at the points, and if all of the x values, x, are different, then it's yes, it is a function. All right, but now let's look down here. For a non-function, that's going to have 2 x values that are the same. All right, it could have 2 or more x values, in fact, that are the same. But what you care about is if you find 2 x values that are the same, it's not a function. All right, let's jump into the example problems. Let's see what we're talking about here. Okay, so the first one, here's the given coordinates. All right, you have 4 different coordinates. You got your x's and y's. Okay, and let's go in and just make sure. All right, here's the x, here's the y, here's the x, here's the y. All right, just making sure you understand all the values that are given. Give the domain and then give the range. Well, if you wrote down those notes and you look right back up at the top, boom, the domain is the x, the range is the y. So we can go right back down and very easy. Let's go ahead and say that we're going to do the domain in red. We're going to do the range in blue. All right, so all the domain values are the x values, -1, 0, 3, and 8. Those are all of the domains because those are all of the x values. Now in blue, we're going to give all of the range values, 9, 4, 1, and -2. That's all we have to do here, okay? So these are all the domain values. Down here, these are all the range values. That's it, simply enough. We can move on. All right, let's do the next example problem. Here we go. So tell me if this is a function or not a function. So again, if you look back at your notes, scroll back up to the top, this is where you focus on the x. Okay, so let's off to the side here. Focus on x. All right, so that is this value right here. Let's focus on just the x values in our problem, okay? The y values don't help us when it comes to this style of question where it says, is it a function or not a function? So let's take a look at the first one. I have a 3, a 6, a 9, and a 12. All of those are different. I don't see any repeating numbers. So this one up top, this is, yes, a function. All right. Perfect. Now let's move on to the next one, part B. I see 2, 4, 2 right off the bat, right there. These guys right here, 2 and 2, 2 and 2, they are the same. Therefore, if they are the same, this one is no, not a function. Okay, perfect. Let's move on to the final example problem, example number 3. So the function is, in other words, I'm giving you the equation for the function, y equals x minus 5. That's the function. And all of your domain values are going to be given. What does it even mean when I say I give you the domain values? Look at the blue text right there. This means I gave you all of the x values. And then if it says, okay, find each of the range values, what does the range go with? It goes with y. So that means you find the y values. So what are we doing? We are plugging every domain value, x value, into the equation one at a time. Okay, now how many x values do you see here? There's 1, 2, 3, 4 x values, which means we're going to have 4 y values for our answer. Okay, so simply enough, let's plug it in. You have y equals, what is x? -5 minus 5. Y equals 5 minus 5. Y equals 10 minus 5. And the final one, y equals 12 minus 5. So you'll see all I'm doing is taking the given domain values and I'm plugging them back into the equation wherever I see x. Now, all I have to do is solve each of these, and then I will have my answer for all of the range values. So a -5 minus 5 gives me a -10. 5 minus 5 gives me 0. 10 minus 5 gives me a +5. And 12 minus 5 gives me 7. So right there, I have all of the range values, and this is the answer they're asking for. Find each of the range values. All right, guys, that covers section 1 of chapter 5. Make sure, watch this video, take notes on the video, come to class with any questions you may have. We'll see you in the next one.